Welcome to the raw and uncensored Ambitchious Podcast. During our time here together, I will be instilling all of the strength, power, and determination you will need to use the very stones thrown at you to build your ultimate empire. We will redefine the word bitch from the derogatory to the acronym being in total control of herself. So let's adjust our crowns and prepare to live life ambitiously.
Oh, yeah, here I am, the original HBIC, Katie motherfucking Boyd. And on this episode of the Ambitchious Podcast, we're going to take part 2 of boundaries, how to have them. And I really desire deeply today to go deep, almost ad nauseum, of all the different ways that you can practice saying no, having more pristine, impeccable boundaries so that you can live your most ambitious life. And I cannot begin to tell you the amount of people who have reached out to me in the last few weeks since the Boundaries podcasts have been coming out. And just like this season of the podcast, like I feel like it's getting back to like old school Katie motherfucking Boyd, where I just kind of say it how it is. And I really give no fucks about what people think, because the people who listen week after week, all of my ambitches all across the globe, you are doing the most. Even if you don't feel like you are doing the most, I pinky swear, promise you, cross my heart and hope to die, stick a dildo in my eye. I'm telling you, you're doing the most, because 98% of the human population are doing the absolute least. And believe me, I know, I've been in this industry for 25 years and I have seen the worst of the worst, and I have worked with some of the best of the best. And most people are mediocre and they don't want to say no, and they just want a train ran on them every motherfucking day, and they want to play victim and they want to whine and fucking be wah wah crybaby tits, and it's not getting anyone anywhere. And, you know, I kind of come from this old school genre of women that are like, you know, more for me then, motherfucker. Like, if you can't get up and suck the marrow out of every day of your life, and you don't see your life as this incredible opportunity to enjoy and experience and really feel like actual real joy, not just like fake faux whatever joy. I'm talking about like really being like rapturously elated, then you're probably not doing the most. But that's what I want out of my life. That's my desire. And I hope it's your desire too, because it probably is, or you probably would not be listening to the Ambitchious Podcast. So as you know, we do not do any type of sales here. I don't have advertisers. I have tons of companies that reach out to me every month to advertise on my podcast and become a sponsor. And I'm a bad motherfucking bitch, and I have a dirty mouth, and I just say crazy shit because that's like, this is kind of like my stream of consciousness. And then I just put it out there as a podcast. It's more for myself than anybody else. And then if it helps people, great. If not, it doesn't matter anyway, because I'm not doing it for everyone. I'm doing it for myself because it makes me feel good. I'm telling you right now that I could make so much money fucking advertising, but I don't, because all of you out there in Ambitchious Land are always sharing the podcast. They're always talking about Katie Boyd's Misfit Club. They're always talking about the Ambitchious app. They are truly the ambitious ambassadors to this movement, and a movement takes people. It's not just me. So I don't have sponsors. We don't talk about sales, but one thing I will say is, one thing I would love for you to do is, if you feel like these podcasts are helping you level up, please share it. Don't worry. I have so many people go, oh, you know, I don't tell people about it, or I don't tell people about the app, or I don't share the podcast, because people just don't listen. Everyone wants to be like mediocre. And I'm like, yeah, but how do you know that you're not planting a seed? And sooner or later, that person will have an awakening and be like, wow, I've been being a mediocre victim motherfucker for the last, 30, 40 years of my life. I need to wake the fuck up. And the Ambitchious Podcast help. Thank you, Susie Joe from Georgia, for sharing that podcast on your Facebook or your Instagram, or texting it to a friend or whatever. So the one thing that I ask, since we do not have sponsors here on the Ambitchious Podcast, even though we could make a lot of money, I just don't want anyone telling me what to do. And I want to keep it to the value. That's my number one thing when I get on here. I want to give people ultimate value. I know that people don't have a lot of time, right? You have families, you have businesses, you're doing shit. And if you are taking time out of your life to listen, I want to give you guys the best advice, the advice that's helped me. Okay. So all the shit that I teach and preach on the Ambitchious podcast, from the first episode up to the 200th, I don't even know what number that we're on, is all the shit that I've done for myself to level up. So I'm not telling you to do shit that I haven't or will not do myself. So this shit works if you work it. So we had such incredible feedback last week on the podcast about boundaries. And today we're going to do more like real life kind of like role playing things, because I think that one thing that a lot of coaches and speakers don't do well is that they talk about theory, but they never give examples. And I also am a storyteller. I love to learn through stories, because stories are what stick in our mind. Our brains are wired to hear stories and then correlate those stories with teaching lessons and tools. And that's how I like to teach. And that's how I like to be taught to. Okay. So that's how I run my podcast. And that's why today I wanted to take a little bit more time to go in depth about boundaries and really give you real world examples and examples from my own life. So that's what we're going to do today. And I hope that you love this. In the meantime, if you haven't already, scroll down to show notes wherever you listen to this podcast and get on the app for the free month. If you're in the Southern New Hampshire area or you're in the surrounding areas to Katie Boyd's Misfit Club, get in the studio for a free month. You actually get the app and the studio together for free for a whole entire month. And it is an absolutely incredible opportunity. So just do it. No fucking excuses. All right, here we go. So I've done many podcasts about this. I talk about this a lot, and it truly is about saying no. And I am a reformed people pleaser. I always fall back into old habits and patterns. It's just a normal thing for people in general. So saying no for me in the past was something so difficult. And I'm sure that a lot of you out there in Ambitchious land are like, oh my God, Katie, it's like the hardest thing for me to say. But I will say that saying no may feel really difficult to you, but think of all the things that you're not saying yes to because you're saying no to shit that doesn't fill up your cup, light you up, help you get closer to be the person that you desire to be. So have you ever met someone who seemed to say yes to everything? And it may be you. I may be speaking about you right now, HBIC. That's right. Right now. I'm talking about you. So people who are afraid to say no often end up with an overflowing plate of duties and obligations and responsibilities that they can't keep up. They just can't. And I've noticed I've had a lot of clients feeling this way. I've felt this way because obviously, I just opened Katie Boyd's Misfit Club up again about a month ago, and I'm getting back into that groove. And, I'm booking one-on-one clients, and I'm having people come in to do their meal plans and their weigh-ins and their measurements and, go over their goals. And then I'm teaching classes, and then I'm doing my business mentorship with my girls who are in the service industry, like estheticians and makeup artists and different type of people in the service industry, healers, coaches, etc. Then I still have a home to run. I still have a life. I still have hobbies, and I do my spiritual practices. I exercise. I cook all my meals. I have a husband. I have, tons of people from all over the world that are clients. I understand what it feels like to be burnt the fuck out, to be spread thin. But over the years, I've gotten better and better and better at it. And I pretty much am like, I would say I'm about 90% great. And there's always that 10% that I can fall into old people pleasing patterns, but it never feels good. And I know so many of my clients are trying to level up, and they are having a problem too. They're dropping the balls. They're missing appointments. They feel like a fucking loser at the end of the day. They have that like crazy voice in their head that's telling them, who are you? You're so stupid. Why would you even waste your time doing this? You're never going to succeed. Like, we all have that. Okay. But when you're burnt out, I notice when you over commit yourself, I have noticed just personally myself, I start to get resentful, and I don't want to feel like that, because I feel like resentment is, in my opinion, the worst, yuckiest feeling to feel. So when you're burnt out, when you're saying yes to everything, when you really mean no, when you're spreading yourself too thin, when you're lighting yourself on fire to keep everyone else warm, you tend to drop the ball on your self-care. And and myself included, we frantically try to meet everyone's demands and the things that people should be saying no to, they say yes. And I know you guys all get it. Okay. I'm preaching to the choir. But no, as you know, no pun intended. And like I said, I've done podcasts about this. So go back to the old podcast and listen to no as a complete sentence. But no is truly a powerful word. And it sounds strikingly similar in dozens of languages and can be recognized by a simple gesture or a facial expression. Okay. I don't care if you're in Portugal, you're in Paris, you are in fucking Istanbul. You can simply shake your head or give the cut sign and people understand okay, she doesn't want any more or she's all set or no. And the craziest part is, even though that's the truth, so many people today have been programmed to feel guilty for saying no. And in reality, saying no clearly draws a line in the sand, and it expresses courage and self-love and sovereignty over our everyday daily actions, daily decisions that get us closer to be the HBIC of our ambitious lives. So the more that we say no to that does not serve our highest, greatest good, the more we can say yes to the things that help us level up and be ambitious, right? So remember that every yes and no shapes your reality. You can choose how you will spend your time and energy. And if something doesn't feel right in your gut, you probably shouldn't do it. And the word no is essential for healthy boundaries. It's so funny because I was thinking about doing this podcast. I was laying in bed last night and I don't know why I started thinking about this, but I was thinking about from the first, my first boyfriend in the whole entire world. Okay. In 8th grade, I thought I loved him. I was so in love and we had dated for a couple years and we just, we were two peas in a pod or whatever. And I was thinking last night of what if I just married him? What if I had dated him all through high school, which I have a lot of friends that they married their high school sweethearts and that's what they did. And I was thinking last night, what if I married him? What would my life look like now? Who would I be? And what kind of life would I have? I definitely wouldn't be here doing the Ambitchious podcast. I wouldn't have had a reality television show on under NBC Universal. I wouldn't probably have Katie Boyd's Misfit Club. I wouldn't have been the top trainer for over a decade in the pageant industry. I wouldn't have been able to live in the home that I live and drive the car that I drive and have the clients that I have and just the world experiences that I've had. And I'm not saying that my life would not have been good if I stayed with him, but it would have been definitely different. And then I kind of started going down the line of okay, so then I broke up with him and then I started dating this other kid. What if I stayed with him? And then some of the guys, they're fucking meatheads and idiots. And I don't even know if they are on this earth anymore because I don't look at my ex's shit. Which is a good thing, thank God. But I was thinking of all these different guys that I had dated from the time I first started dating when I was 14 years old up until, I met my husband. And I was thinking of all the different people that I had dated over the years and what my life would have looked like, felt like, been like, who I would have been as a person. And the only thing that really differentiates the life I have today and the life I could have had with any of those people is the word no. There was a point in all of those relationships where either I got broken up with, or I broke up with the person, or I got cheated on, or I did something crazy, right? And those are all no's. So I said pretty much no, or someone said no to me all those different times to lead me to the place where I married the love of my life. I have this incredible life. I really do. On next week's podcast, it's going to be our 10-year anniversary podcast because it's our 10-year wedding anniversary. It's so crazy. Time flies. It's fucking wild. I feel like we just got married yesterday. It's just so strange to me. But if I wouldn't have said no in some capacity to all those different people and all those different opportunities, and even just how I got to meet the next person, it's I moved to a different city, or I worked at a different gym, or I took a different job. And those always led me to that next thing, that next experience, that next person. And if I had stayed in another city or stayed at the old job, what would my life have been? And so that's why no is so, 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 so important. So that being said, the word no is the number one essential thing for impeccable, pristine, clear-cut, concise boundaries. Okay. And you have to also understand this because I have a lot of women who are not like me that listen to this podcast. And they're like, Katie, you're just so rough and you're raw and you're just wow. And I'm not like that. And don't want anyone to be like me. I'm not telling you to like be like me and emulate me because like my life is perfect. It's not fucking perfect. But every day I get up and I try to make myself a little bit better than I did yesterday. So that being said, I think we have to understand, and I've had to swallow this big old horse pill myself, is saying no does not have to be rude. Okay. And I would say 9 times out of 10, when I say no to someone, it's never rude. It's actually to protect myself and also sometimes to protect the person that's asking me to do the thing because it's not right. Like in my gut, I don't think it's the proper right way to be or go or whatever. So it doesn't require an apology. Remember, no is a complete sentence. It doesn't require an explanation. So you don't have to say like, no, I can't, because you say, no, that's not going to work for me. The end. Drop it. It's going to save you just so much mental energy, physical energy. Okay. That's just the bottom line. So notice where in your personal life that you say, I'm sorry, I can't, or maybe let me get back to you when you just mean no. Like how many times have we done that? 1 million, 1 billion? I don't know. From the day we were born, since the time that we learned how to say no. But how many times, and I do it too, I'm like, oh, let me look at my schedule, or let me do this. And like, I know for a fact, I'm not going out with you. I don't want to hang out with you. I don't want to do work with you. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to work on my day off. I'm not going to do whatever the case may be. Like, I know that I'm going to say no, but instead of just being like, no, I can't do that. And not being like, because I have a bar mitzvah, you know what I mean? It's like never those things. It's just like, sometimes it's just like, yo, it's a Friday night. I'm fucking exhausted. I've been working like an asshole all week and I don't want to go and do that thing, fill in the blank. Maybe next week, maybe I'll feel more peppy, right? So I want you to pay attention on how you, and again, this is what I did for myself when I started really getting serious about my boundaries, is I want you to pay attention to how you can shift these simple conversations to more clear, cut, concise, line in the sand, drawn conversations, instead of leaving another person waiting for that clear answer, because the clarity of your communication, everyone, will ultimately benefit all of the parties involved, period. So if you say yes when you really mean no, or you say, let me get back to you, and you really mean no, you're being a pussy ass bitch. Okay. HBICs, we don't dance around things. We use clear cut, concise communication, period. Okay. So that's the whole no thing. And I know that's such a hard, oh God, it's so hard for so many people. I cannot tell you how many times I have these conversations with clients. Now, the next thing that I think is so important is physical boundaries. I really don't have this problem anymore. When I had my TV show, I did. I would go places. I would even go to the mall. I would go to the mall, or I would go to a friend's wedding, or I would just like be walking downtown Newport, Rhode Island, or like I would be at a store, you know, getting groceries. And I would literally have people, this is no word of a lie, I would have them follow me around in the grocery store. This is why I have complex post-traumatic stress disorder from groceries. That's why I just have my groceries delivered, because I fucking hate the grocery store for this reason. People used to follow me around when I had my television show, and they would film what was in my grocery basket. Not kidding you. I've had women on Newbury Street in Boston, which is like one of the main streets in Boston where it's like shopping and restaurants and whatever. I was going to get my hair cut, and I was parking my Range Rover in this like parking lot that I always parked on. And these girls were walking in front of my Range Rover, and I was like pulling into the parking lot. And these girls had like they must have been like assistants or something, because they had like tons of Starbucks. Both of them jumped on top of my Range Rover and spilt coffee everywhere, all over my car. And they were screaming. And I'm not trying to like be like, oh my God, I'm so special, even though I am. But I was like, half of me was like, oh my God, this is so dope. Like people like, they recognize me. How cool is this? But then the other thing was like, bitch, get off my fucking $100,000 car. And why is there 50 frappa fucking chinos on my windshield? Right? Or sometimes like if you're out, you know, you may be at a bar with a girlfriend and you're just shooting the shit and you're having a cocktail, and then there's like guys like rolling up on you, like rubbing up on you and touching you and try to talk to you. Sometimes people will just like, I like to hug people, but I'm not like a big hugger when I don't know people. Like if I know you, I will like literally 69 you in public. But if I don't, I gotta like get to know you first. Like I don't want your energy touching my energy unless like I know you're a down ass bitch. So, you know, just keeping like that dance space in between people. So obviously we covered a lot of mental tips. In the last week's podcast, we started talking about the no, which is also kind of a mental tip. But now we're going to talk about the strategy for actual physical boundaries. Some people can call this a bubble. I talk about this in my book. I call it cloaking. I'm going to give you a bunch of different ideas, but I really think physical boundaries for so many people are so difficult. They aren't for me anymore. They were when I was younger. I really got out of that. And I think I just give off a very specific energy where people they know, they either know they can hug me and touch me and whatever, or they don't. But some people don't, and they haven't honed that skill, and they haven't figured out how to radiate that very intense energy so people aren't fucking putting their chode into your butthole. So I'm going to talk to you guys about the physical stuff. So I'm an empath. I'm sure so many people out there are empaths. They're intuitive. They feel people's energy to the point where they actually start to feel their energy and take the energy on as their own energy, which is not good. And so if you're like me and you're sensitive to physical proximity in dense settings like public transportation or concerts or busy city streets or restaurants, this is your tip. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. When I was younger, I used to love, because I love music and I love 80s hair bands. It's one of my favorite things. I mean, I love all music. Literally, I love everything. I love country. I love rap. I love fucking classical music. I love Gregorian chants. I like fucking woo-woo music. I love fucking trap music. I love every techno. Fucking, I'm your girl. Okay. I love music. But I used to love to go to concerts. And I remember every time, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but fuck it, whatever. Every time I would go to concerts, I would be in the concert and I'd be oh, I'm having such a great time. And then I would be and my fucking stomach would go, blah, 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 blah. I'm oh my God, I'm going to fucking shit my pants. And then I would no, and I would try to breathe through it. But then the sweat beads would start dripping and my asshole would start fucking just pinching, my little fucking balloon knot would be and I'm oh God, I got to shit. So I would run to the bathroom. I would blow that motherfucker up every goddamn time. And then I would be oh, I think I have food poisoning, or, oh, I think I have the stomach bug or whatever. And it wasn't until I was older where I started realizing, oh my God, this has nothing to do with me. This is all these people's energy it's kicking my fucking energy's ass in my body. And I would have physical purges at different places. Same thing with I cannot go, I can't, oh my God, I'm being a real bougie bitch today, but here we are. I cannot fly in coach. I have to fly first or business class. I can't be next to people. I can't have them touching me. Even my own husband, I'm get away from me. Go on your side of the fucking, even when we're in first class, and I've flown some pretty dope ass airlines where there's fucking an apartment on the air, on the airplane. You get your own fucking apartment, for Christ's sake, your own shower, your own, your own server, whatever. And still I'm Matt, go over there. I love you. I know you want a hand job on the plane, but you need to go over there. And he gets it. When we first started dating, I think he was just damn, this girl's fucking an ice princess, but I need my space. That's just who I am. I'm 43 right now. If you're listening to this podcast in 2024, I need my damn space because I know myself. So if you get on, public transportation, or you're walking down the street, or you're at a concert, or you're at a basketball game, or you're around a huge crowd of people and you start to panic and feel out of body, or you shit your pants, or you get nauseous, or you get dizzy, or you're I'm losing it. This is for you. But I'm only saying this because I am that girl. Okay. So there's one strategy which is called the bubble strategy. Okay. And it encompasses using your body language to create a bubble around you. It's a nonverbal bubble that says, this is my space, keep in your space. And that's what it says. So here are some tips that you can use to create that bubble around you. So number one is standing like a triangle. I know this sounds crazy. You're Katie, what are you talking about today on the Ambitchious Podcast? Stand like a motherfucking triangle. I'm not telling you to stand like a fucking parallelogram, for Christ's sakes. I don't even know what that is, but just standing like a triangle is how you want to be. So begin by adopting a stance known as the triangle base. You want to stand with your feet shoulder width apart, creating a stable and grounded posture. And this stance not only provides physical stability, so it grounds you down, but it also subtly marks your territory. Opposite that might be having your legs close together, taking up minimal space. Your instincts might tell you to go this way to appear less intimidating, but to others, it may signal invasion. And my husband talks a lot about this because we do a women's only self-defense class at Dojo Santi, which is his martial arts studio. And he always says, who do you think gets abducted? Who do you think gets assaulted? Women that try to make themselves small and meek and like, right? I'm not telling you to like grow a fucking dick from your clit. I'm just saying, and like piss all over everybody and like fart in everyone's face. What I'm saying is you have to be strong and powerful to command and demand that special, like, this bitch, you don't want to fuck with her. You don't want to grab her purse. You don't want to steal her shit. You don't want to invade her fucking dance space. So that's number one, how you're standing and how you're holding yourself in public. The second thing is to utilize nonverbal cues. So body language, as we all know, speaks volumes. Cross your arms lightly to avoid appearing defensive, or hold an item in front of you like a bag or a book or a coat to create a physical barrier. These actions actually clearly convey your need for personal space without uttering a single word. It's so true. The next one is the polite pivot. This is a really good one. For all you babes that are out there on the bar scene, still doing it up, this is for you. So let's just say you're at a bar and someone encroaches on your space, right? All you need to do is just execute a slight turn away from them. And this is like a 30 to 45 degree angle turn. So you kind of put your shoulder again, like towards them, you know, like I'm not engaging. And this turn is called, in the body language world, the polite pivot. And it subtly increases the distance between you and the other person without causing a confrontation. I can't tell you how many times, like, Matt does this so seamlessly. And I just think it's like all his leadership coaching and all his martial arts skills and just being like a big motherfucker, right? People do not talk to Matt at a bar, but they will talk to me because I'm smiley and I'm like, hi guys, and I'm friendly and whatever. And then all of a sudden I have this fucking asshole next to me talking to me about, you know, like why I should buy a fucking electric car. And I'm like, bitch, did I ask for you? Did I summons you? No. Eat your fucking tuna melt and turn and fuck around, Larry. You know what I'm saying? So that's an amazing thing to do. It's not rude. You're not being like, yo, buddy, get the fuck away from me. I have personal space issues. It's just a slight thing. The next thing is strategic positioning. In overcrowded settings, position yourself near stable structure like walls, like columns, or railings. And these physical barriers can act as a natural deterrent to crowding and provide you a buffer zone and a safe space, allowing you to maintain a comfortable space, a comfortable bubble, right? You don't leave yourself wide open with your dick in your hand in the middle of a fucking room, right? The next one is called the anchor technique. And this uses personal belongings to your advantage by placing them strategically around you, acting as anchors. So if, for example, setting a backpack on the ground next to you while standing or placing a coat on a seat beside you dissuades others from coming too close. However, be mindful and respectful of other space and needs as well as your tolerance for potential theft. This technique should be used sparingly and only in truly overcrowded situations. I did a lot of research to do this podcast, and I am the number one bitch that I will put my purse on the chair next to me, and I'll just be like, you do not want to sit here. People won't sit next to me. Same thing with Matt. They just won't. Unless it's like so crowded that there's no other seats, and like in that case, like move your fucking purse. Don't be an asshole. I have friends that will like get on a plane, and as people are walking down the aisle, they'll like cough, which I would never do, but I think it's so fucking gangster. Like, could you imagine you're walking down the aisle and you like, oh my seat, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm gonna go somewhere else, you know? And this is also the thing about not sitting in business or first class, where like a lot of airplanes now are like cattle calls, right? It's just like, move it on up, and you just get in and you just sit wherever the fuck you can get a seat. That's another reason why I'm a bougie bitch and I will spend the extra money for first class or business class, because I don't want all these motherfuckers sitting next to me. But if you have to, I'm not the coughing girl, but I have friends that are the coughing people and they're hilarious, and I'm like, go on with your bad self. The next one is practicing what's called the mirror shield. Okay. So when verbal communication is necessary, such as asking someone to move over, right? You see someone that's too close, you're like, oh, can I just scooch in here? Or can you move over a little bit or whatever? Mirror the other person's body language briefly before communicating your request. This establishes a subconscious rapport, because remember, everything is happening in the subconscious mind before it comes to conscious reality, making them more likely to respond positively for your need for space. So you don't walk up to someone and you're like, hey, schmo, move your fucking ass over. I got to scooch in here. You're like, hi, hey, can I like scooch in? Can I just scooch in a little bit? People are so much more receptive to that. And then this is something that I used to have a really hard time doing, and now I have to do it or I cannot go out into public. And I'll give you a little story. So it's called advanced mental preparation. Before entering a crowd setting, prepare mentally by visualizing your personal space as a protective bubble around you. This psychological strategy can increase your comfort level and reduce anxiety about personal space invasion. I love theater. I was an old theater queen back in the day, and I do love a good Broadway play. And Rent, I think it was like their 25th anniversary or something like that. And I was like, oh, babe, I really want to go see Rent, and I want you to see Rent. It's like one of my favorite shows, blah, blah, blah. So we ended up getting tickets to, I think it was the Wilbur Theater in Boston. I'm not 100% sure. It was a couple years ago. And Matt and I, we were so excited, and we walked into the theater, and the chairs were literally like Fenway Park. And if you know, you know. And if you don't, I'm going to tell you. The chairs are so fucking close together that I don't even care if you're a size -0, your ass is not fitting into that seat. And you're like hobbling on the other person next to you, and you're like, titties are falling forward, and it's just so uncomfortable. And there was so many people, and it was just so fucking crowded. And I had a full-blown anxiety attack, and Matt literally like bodyguarded me like I was having a Whitney Houston moment, and he was like pulling me out of it was very gallant, but he was like, okay, we gotta go. And he just like, I don't know how he did it, but he like just parted the red seas in the crowd like during intermission and like got me out of there. And I was like in the car, like breathing into a paper bag. It was so bad. And that was like pre-COVID. So I was kooky before a fucking pandemic. But I realized I had to sit and say, did I cloak myself? Did I do all the things that I just said? Did I mentally prepare that there's going to be a lot of people? The seats might be small. People might be sitting on top of each other. And I have to like mentally get myself into that energy so that I can have a really great time. No, I didn't. And it was a waste of fucking money, and it was ruined the night. And Matt still brings it up to this day, like how he thinks he's like whatever the guy's name is from fucking The Bodyguard. I can't remember the guy's name. I know it was the guy from fucking Yellowstone. God, I'm getting so old, but you know who I'm talking about. It'll come to me halfway through this podcast. You know who I'm talking about. Okay. I think his name was like John something or other in the Bodyguard show. And I was definitely Whitney. Anyways, so the one thing that I talk about in my book a lot is cloaking. So it's just like the bubble, but what you do is you make yourself almost invisible to people. And that is something that I do every day because, you want to protect yourself from energy vampires. You want to protect yourself from low vibrational frequency entities. So if you haven't read the book Ambitchious, get it. What are you waiting for? Scroll down to the show notes to get your book Ambitchious. It's fucking amazing. And if you do the free month of the app, you actually get the book on audio. So you're really going to like that. But cloaking is my number one thing that I do every day. And I use all those different strategies that I just spoke about in different instances, depending on where I'm going and who I have to be around, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. The next thing for boundaries, it's going to help you have those pristine, elevated, impeccable, clear-cut, and concise boundaries is taking time for yourself. And I know you're like, oh, Katie, is this a fucking self-care podcast? This is a boundaries podcast. It's both, because you need to have self-care to have impeccable boundaries. I'm going to tell you why. So obviously, amidst our fast-growing, moving world, right? We're all in it. We're all feeling it. Self-care can feel selfish, and it can even feel frivolous. But the science of self-care is clear. Taking alone time for yourself is linked to more confidence. This is so true. Greater creativity, more emotional intelligence, and more emotional stability. And really, if you are pressured with tough situations, and like we all are at numerous times in our lives, I will say that the thing that saved me is like knowing like I'm going on vacation in a week, or I'm going to get a pedicure and a manicure, or I'm going to get a massage, or I have date night with my husband, and it helps me get through to the next thing. So here's a little tip, and this is a little actionable tip, and I love actionable tips, and these are things that I have done for myself so I want you, all of you in Ambitchious Land, for the next month, I want you to set aside a 2-hour block of your time on your calendar each week. Just 2 hours. That's nothing. That's nothing. I think there's like 168 hours in a week. So a 2-hour time block on your calendar each week specifically for yourself. And you need to let your family and your close friends and your colleagues and anybody who's like in your inner sanctum of your inner nucleus, you need to let them know, like, hey, between 2 and 4 on Tuesday afternoon, I am not going to be available. So please don't expect a text back from me. Don't expect an email. Don't expect me to answer my phone, blah, 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 whatever. And this could be, you taking yourself out for lunch or going outside and doing a little hike or hitting a yoga studio or just going to the beach with a good book or just whatever fills up your cup. Just 2 hours. If you can do that, I'm telling you that everything else is going to just fall into place. Like yesterday, I worked my titties off. I was on fucking 11 all day long, helping my clients, giving them fucking multi-million-dollar ideas in my mentorship program, going live on my app, doing training sessions, all the healing sessions. It was crazy. And at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, I know that I'm going home to a healthy meal. And I know I'm going to go home and I'm going to sit in the hot tub and I'm going to watch Trailer Park Boys. And I knew that that was going to be like my little reward for how hard I worked. And guess what? When I woke up this morning, I didn't feel burnt out. I felt refreshed. I felt rejuvenated. I felt amazing. And that's why I'm here podcasting today. And that's why I'm here doing a million other things today, because I took that time for myself. Now, if after I was 11 all day and I went out and I drank a bottle of wine and ate a bunch of nachos and fucking, cried myself to sleep, I probably wouldn't have felt good this morning. But I took that time and I knew that I had these healthy, amazing me time things for the end of the day. And that's what kept me going. I'm also going on vacation for my 10-year anniversary. So that's kind of keeping me in the grind too. So you have to make time for yourself. And you're probably asking, like, what does self-care have to do with boundaries, Katie? Well, and this is just, again, what has helped me. I believe truly that solitude allows you to deeply and honestly reflect on your life, what makes you feel good, your values, your ethics, your morals, like what the next step is, like, just taking that time to be like, am I doing the right thing? Am I going down the right path? But the only time that you ever get that moment in your life is like when you're quiet, when you have solitude, when you take a step back. In stillness, you find your true self. You're never going to get the messages from spirit that you need to help you go to the next level if you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, distracted constantly, and you're never quiet. And truly, I believe that the time that you set aside for yourself only, with no one else in mind, can bring you more clarity, can bring more clarity into your relationships with other people, your business, your home life, all the 6 life makers. And I think that all the women that I speak to and have spoken to over the years, I've helped tens of thousands of women. I've coached them all. And I feel like so many times, like, the women that I work with feel like self-care is selfish. And I think it's the opposite. I think it's selfless, because if you are pouring from an empty cup, you are damaging the people that you're actually trying to help. And that is coming from a place of ego and not a place of like, I really actually want to help this person. And modern society's tendency towards self-sacrifice and workaholism has led many people to dismiss their boundaries or sacrifice their own well-being for the sake of pleasing others. And ironically, this can often have the opposite effect than they'd like. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to do a podcast on this down the road about how much we do and how much we work and how much energy that we expend does not equal our self-worth. And I think that is one of the hardest pills for me that I've had to swallow over the years, because everything that my self-worth relies on over the years is like how many people I can help and how much money I can make. And look at me. Am I good enough now? Look at me. Pick me. And it's like, that is not helping you feel enough. It's actually helping you feel least and less than. So as the saying goes, like I said before, you cannot pour from an empty cup. And healthy boundaries are a way to fill your cup up so that you can offer more joy and you can use your purpose and your talents and your gifts to help the world. And that's the damn fucking truth. Okay, this is another one. It's the summertime here in New England. That means everybody wants to drink margaritas. They want to go on their boats. They want to go to the beach. They want to eat a fucking fried clam. They want to eat some lobster rolls. And like, listen, they want to golf. I am here for it, honey. Don't fucking tempt me with some buttered lobster and a brioche bun. Fuck me up. Give me bubble guts for days. My asses will be on fuego, but it will be worth it in my mouth. And there's so many people who are asking me like, can we go over here? Can we do this? Can we do that? Can we do this? And I want to do all the things. But there are only so many hours in my day that I have time to dedicate for just like fun shit. And it's not that I'm like a boring bitch. I am not a boring bitch. I love to have fun. No one likes to have more fun than Katie motherfucking Boyd. But I also know that I only have so much time on this earth to do the things that I want to do. And that being said, sometimes you have to decline invitations to people. Okay. So a simple no when someone invites you somewhere might be useful, but it also might give off the wrong vibe. And we all know this is true. However, declining invitations tactfully without deflection can net you brownie points. And deflection is particularly useful in professional settings or with acquaintances you wish to maintain a positive relationship with. So to deflect an unwanted invitation, and I would just say write a book and tell people everything that you will not do, which is what I did. Look at the chapter, okay? But for you people that don't have that list or that you haven't written a book about it, I'm going to just give you some ideas. So number one, to deflect unwanted invitations is number one, acknowledge the offer so you appreciate it. Thank you so much for inviting me. Number two, state a non-specific commitment as a reason for your inability to attend. And then three, propose a different activity, alternative, or meeting time that suits you better. So I'm going to give you a little example. So imagine you're at work and one of your coworkers, let's call her Big Tits McGee. She's invited you to another after-work social event at the local dive bar across the street from your business or your cubicle, whatever you're doing. And you've attended these before and you found them unproductive and they're draining and you get white girl wasted on a Tuesday and you're hungover on Wednesday and you miss a whole fucking day of work. You don't wake up to go to your workout. You don't do your spiritual practices. You eat fucking hot Cheetos the next day because you're so hungover. I know. I've been there. I've done it before. Okay. I'm sure you're like all out there in a bitch's land shaking your head. And instead of saying like just a flat like no, which may seem unfriendly, right? Because bitches need friends. We still need people in our lives. We can't go this alone. So you could say like, hey, Big Tits McGee. Thank you for the invite. And I've been focusing on balancing my personal and professional time a lot lately. And I found that quiet evenings help me recharge and be more productive the next day at work, which is all fucking true. But I appreciate you including me. And I hope that everyone has an amazing time. Let's catch up tomorrow at lunch and we can talk about how the event went. And if you notice that the parts of what the example that I just gave you, it accomplishes all three parts of the deflection that I had just spoke to before. So that script, right, that example that acknowledges the invitation positively, so that's number one. Number two, it provides a clear yet personal reason for declining that's hard to argue, right? People aren't going to be like, why would you want a productive morning? You know, they're never going to say that to you. They're going to shake their head and go, yeah, I probably shouldn't go either. And then it maintains the relationship that you want to keep with that person by expressing interest in the event's outcome, or even saying like, hey, why don't you and I like go out, just me and you in a couple weeks, or maybe we can go have lunch, or we can go to a yoga class together at Katie Boyd's Misfit Club or whatever. But if you like, and listen, I love a good cocktail, honey, but I just know myself. I can't stop. Once I have one, it's like Pringles, but they're Aperol spritzes. And then I'm fucking cross-eyed. And I'm like fucking gagging in my toilet till 2:00 in the morning. Then I'm sweating my fucking balls off. I can't sleep. I'm up pissing all night. And then I have to get up and work like a 12, 15-hour day the next day. No. So this is really going to help you take your boundaries to the next level. And if you have a problem with confrontation, it's a challenging thing for you, which it is for so many. I don't really know anyone, including myself, that's like, oh my God, my pussy just gets so wet when I confront people and have like knockdown, drag out, brawl fights in the middle of my business or whatever. No one's saying that. So if it's a challenge for you, which I'm sure it is for me, you'd want to frame your declinations, okay? So declining the invitation regarding personal goals or needs rather than the request. So this actually shifts the conversation from what you're turning down to why you're doing so, which people are more likely to respect and accept. Plus, it positions you as a self-aware and committed person to actual personal growth, which can increase other people's respect for you. And it's just true. Okay. It's a lot of information, but it's so all worth it. So the next one is your digital boundaries. This is big time. This probably wasn't so important 20 years ago, but it is very important. I think that digital boundaries sometimes are even more important than physical boundaries. And this is just the way of the world right now. So after working remotely, as many people have for the last couple of years, including myself, I've definitely learned a lot of very special tips and tricks that can help you separate your work life from your personal life. And there is definitely a catch to this. And a lot of people talk about prioritizing your work-life balance, where I don't think, well, just for me personally, that's not a thing. My work is my life and my life is my work. But for a lot of you guys that work like a 9-to-5 job where you're working for a boss, like you should be able to leave your business and go home and enjoy your family. You should not be getting calls all night. You should not be getting DMs. You should not be getting Facebook fucking Instagram messages and TikToks and all this fucking shit. There's just way too many ways for people to get in touch with you. Like I can't tell you how many times like someone will DM me on Facebook and then DM me on Instagram, and then text message me, and then email me. And I'm like, dude, can you give me a fucking moment? I'm trying to take a shit. Like, I will get back to one of your requests. Like, calm the fuck down. So here's some little like tricks that I use to help me balance that. And these come in handy whether you are an entrepreneur and you work for yourself, or you're a solopreneur, or you are working for a big company, or you're a small business. It's going to help you across the boards, okay? Even if you're a stay-at-home mom and you just need some digital boundaries around the goddamn PTA trying to fuck you up the ass with no lube every day, okay? So the first one is the digital zoning. So are you using Google Chrome or Safari or DuckDuckGo or one of those like search engines? So the great part is these browser apps can be great, but it may be helpful to create zones that separate work from personal life. And you can also add new users if you are on Mac. Okay, I'm a Mac girl, but whatever. It doesn't matter. Anyways, these zones let you create different user profiles on your computer for work and personal use. Like I have one for the Ambitchious Podcast. I have one for my app. I have one for my own personal use. I have one for like different facets of my business because I don't want to go into my email and see all my work shit when I'm just like answering friends' emails and vice versa, right? And so taking advantage of those digital zones is a must for me, and it's a must for a lot of you. You may just not know that it is available to you. So this helps me distinguish between work mode and personal mode, and it keeps distractions at bay while working. And additionally, you can leverage app blockers, which is huge too, during work hours to minimize non-work related notifications. You would be so surprised if you knew how much you were looking at your phone and how much you were using like your digital shit. It's really actually scary. The next thing is to schedule unavailability. This is huge. So you want to set your office hours and you want to communicate them to your colleagues and your friends and your family. And you want to use calendar sharing and status updates and communication tools to visibly mark your availability, which we just call it in my business with my team time blocking. And time blocking is used to dedicate specific hours to focus work and then signal the end of your day by setting an automatic out of office reply or changing your status to offline. That's great. And the next one is your virtual commute. So you want to create a ritual to start and end your workday. What I do is I do some cloaking in the morning and I do cord cutting at night. But for you, it could be different. So by doing this, it could be a short walk. It could be a meditation session. It could be having your coffee in a specific spot. And this practice helps signal the transition between work and personal time to your brain. And it creates a psychological boundary that enhances work-life separation. So like in the morning, I do a lot of stuff for myself. And then once I'm done with everything that I need to do, I set my intentions for the day. I do my ambitious abundance affirmation. I do my prayer. I write down my bitch list. And as soon as those things are done, it's Katie Boyd work mode. We're not fucking around anymore. And then at the end of my work day, I have little rituals like cord cutting. I talk about this in my book. I talk about this a ton on my app. And that signals like, I'm done now. I'm in a safe space. I'm at my home and I can just be myself. I can take the mask off. I can take the floppy titties out and I can just let them hang. Do you know what I'm saying? And so also integrating, this is just a little tip, integrating mindfulness practices into your boundary setting routine is huge. And it takes short breaks throughout the day. And I do this because I do Pomodoro time techniques where I work in very tight windows of work and then I take a break and then tight windows of work and take a break. So when I take those breaks throughout the day, I practice mindfulness. So I'll do breath work, or I will have, I'll go take my vitamins, or I'll do like a little meditation, or I'll walk outside and walk in my garden, just something that kind of resets me and it resets my mental state and it reinforces that I have boundaries between work and play and work and personal. And it really helps you balance that work stress with the personal peace that everyone should have in the world. Okay. Now we're going to get into some more personal shit. And I think this is, it's pretty intense. How to enforce boundaries with persistent motherfuckers. Because there is always going to be that one motherfucker that don't understand. They are not self-aware. They're dumber than a bag of uncircumcised dicks. Okay? You know who I'm talking about. I bet you're thinking right now, wherever you are in Ambitchious land, you're thinking about the person in your mind. I have about 15 of these motherfuckers in my mind right now. So have you ever been in situations like this? So does this sound familiar to you? Want to go to the bar tonight and get white girl wasted? Come on, it will be so fun. They always say fun at the end. And you're like, no thanks. And they're like, seriously, come on. It's Friday night. You never go out. You're fucking such a party pooper. And you're like, no, thanks. I have so much going on. It's like, it's going to take me off my game. And the person's like, come on, I will buy you a drink. I will buy you a drink. And you're like, bitch, I can afford my own drink. I'm ambitious. I'm a rich bitch. And then you're like, don't like fucking, does this person, can they not read the room? Are they not picking up what I'm putting down? So the first thing that we have to do is have assertive repetition. Assertive repetition. So keep your responses consistent and firm each time the persistent individual tests your boundaries. You want to use clear, cut, concise language without embellishment or justification, which can also provide loopholes for persistent individuals to exploit. You know this person. They will take everything you say and they will use it against you to manipulate you to do the thing that they want you to do. So let's just give an example. So for instance, if someone keeps asking you to lend them money, which happens to rich bitches all of the time, you can just say, as I mentioned before, I'm uncomfortable lending money, but thank you. And this stance hasn't changed. Period. If they don't get it after that, then maybe you need to really think about this person being in your life. The next one is tactical disengagement. Yes, I'm getting into like some Navy SEAL shit here, but here we are. So what happens if they disregard like what you just said? So you want to politely, calmly end the conversation and remove yourself from the situation. And this could mean walking away. It could mean hanging up on the person. It could mean ending an email thread and getting off a text message thread. You just want to give them a clear indication that boundary crossing behavior will not be entertained. Because remember, I'm going to say this again for the people in the back. We teach people how to treat us. We teach people how to treat us. Now, the next technique is the broken record technique. So what if you just can't walk away? Well, for whatever reason? Consistently repeat your boundary statement without variation. This technique is effective because it leaves little room for negotiation and misunderstanding. And it signals to the persistent individual that your boundary is non-negotiable. Okay? So I'm going to give you some real examples. So imagine you have a coworker. Her name is Fatty Bombatti. I'm not fucking fat shaming anybody, you fucking cunts. I have this one motherfucker that's like, you're fat phobic and you're fat shaming people. Your body, no body positivity. Shut the fuck up. Okay, so fatty and baddies, like, they constantly interrupt your lunch break to discuss work related. You know this person. You know this motherfucker. They just are dumber than a bag of fucking pubes. Okay, you're on your break. You're just having your fucking little lunch. You're having your little charcuterie board, your little fucking adult Lunchables, and they just schlep their body over next to you, and they just want to talk shit about your boss or this happened in the world, and you're just like, bro, I'm just trying to listen to the Ambitchious podcast. I'm just trying to read my book. I'm just trying to take a fucking break. I don't want to talk about this shit. And you have told them ad nauseum, like, I don't want to talk about work. I don't want to talk about work. I want to talk about work. So this is how you're going to use the techniques. So the first one is assertive repetition. So each time Fatty approaches you with work-related matters, you say, Fatty, I value our collaboration, but my lunch break is my time. Can you just respect that? Okay. Then the tactical disengagement, the next one. So if Fatty continues to intrude, say, I need to stick to my boundaries, so I'm going to go move to the break room where I can have some quiet time. We can discuss this after my break. Or the third technique is the broken record technique. So if Fatty attempts to follow or persists, keep stating, I'm on my lunch break now. We can talk later. Do not deviate from this phrase and continue it with your intended break activity. And by the way, if you guys know who Fatty McGee is and Adam Sandler, that's who I'm talking about. That motherfucker. Remember? He was like, hey! That was like one of my favorite things. I used to listen to it on a cassette tape on my way to school in like, I don't know, 10th grade. And if you don't know what it is, please go find it. So obviously, like I said before, confronting people can be hard and it's nothing to be shameful about. And if confronting others is directly challenging, then you need to try to write down your boundaries and the consequences of crossing them in an email or a letter. A lot of people, like my stepdaughter is like this. She has a hard time like talking to people, but she's really good at writing out her feelings. And some people just have a really hard time, writing down the way that they have a really hard time talking about how they feel. And that's a normal thing. It's not weird. Some people just do better like that. So, after you write them that email or after you write them that text message or that letter, like whatever it is, this will say, I'll get back to this later. And this allows you to maintain boundaries without confrontation and provides a written record of your boundaries, which can be referred to if the boundaries are crossed later. And this approach is particularly effective for introverts who struggle to express themselves under pressure or prefer time to organize their thoughts, which there's so many people out there like that, like so many. I can't tell you how many. So how do we create these work-life boundaries? Because so many people are like, I just can't do it, Katie. I just cannot create these boundaries. And it's like, okay, this is how you do it. So I did a lot of research on this, but research actually shows that a blurred work-life boundary is linked to emotional exhaustion and burnout. This is more relevant than ever amidst the massive shift to remote work for the last couple of years from home scenarios. But workaholism can manifest in many other ways. So it's not just sometimes like the overt way that you're like, oh, that person's a workaholic. There's a lot of covert ways. So I'm going to give you an example. So let's just say that Penelope is a high achieving lawyer who just takes great pride in her work. And however, she often finds herself staying extra late hours in the home office. She misses her workouts. She eats like shit. She compulsively is checking her emails. She's neglecting quality time with her family. She's regularly stressed out, and she constantly thinks about new clients and cases from the moment that she wakes up to the moment that she goes to bed. So Penelope often jokingly describes herself as a workaholic, but inwardly associates her job with her identity. And how many of us, including myself, are like this? And she doesn't have any work-life boundaries, and her mental, emotional, and physical health are suffering as a result. So how do we, as workaholics, because I am one of them, how do we set clear-cut, concise boundaries as a workaholic, as someone who has like that, the muddied waters of like what is home and what is fun and what is work and what is like focus? So the first way is to set clear work hours, to say like, today I'm only working from this time to this time, and then I'm done. And I'm giving myself my lunch break, and it's going to be an hour. It's going to be delicious. And Fatty's not going to come and talk to me about fucking office gossip, okay? The next one is create a morning or a nighttime routine centered around self-care. So at some point of your day, no matter what happens in your life, you're going to have some form of self-care. The next one is when you are around your friends and family and when you are doing leisure activities that fill up your cup, don't check your phone and don't check your computer, period. The next one is to tell your coworkers and your colleagues or even your employees that you are not available during certain times. The next is to find a space in your home that is only for work and avoid working on your bed or from your couch or even from your dining room table. It's bad feng shui. If you haven't listened to my Feng Shui podcast, go back and listen to Feng Shui with Ginny Rain, my Feng Shui master. And I'm better at this than Matt, but Matt will like do work at the dining room table. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, go to your office. That's why you have a beautiful office. Like, go to the motherfucking office. Like, come on. The next one is delegate tasks or hire new employees to help reduce your stress levels. I always tell girls when I'm doing business coaching, like there's a seat for every ass. And what does that mean? There's people out there that can help you with your workload, whether it is like a house cleaner or a gardener or someone who like takes care of your emails or does like cold calling for you or manages your social media or whatever. It's just going to give you more time to spend on the things that you need to focus on and the things that you are good at and not the things that you suck at that you're like, oh, I really should learn how to do this. It's like, no, delegate it, find someone else to have them do it and they'll love it and they're good at it. The next one is try a new hobby that's unrelated to work. That's why I started golfing. I had golfed a lot when I was younger, and because I was working all the time and going to school, I just didn't have the time. And I started golfing about 3 years ago. And for me, it's like a moving meditation. I get out in the sun. I get out in nature. I get to spend time with Matt. We have good drinks, good food, good friends. It's just such a great way to pull me out of like working because I could work. I am a workaholic and I could work from the moment I get up to the moment I go to bed, and I see nothing wrong with that, and it's sick. It's also why I'm very successful, but I don't want to be like that. It's just no fun. All work and no play makes Katie motherfucking Boyd a dull bitch. The next one is keep separate sets of work clothes and lounge clothes to allow you to mentally shift between your boundaries. Like I work at a wellness center, right? I own Katie Boyd's Fit Club. So I'm in workout clothes a lot. And I noticed like I have to force myself to get dressed up every so often, or I'm just like a schlumpadink 24/7, right? So I never shut the work off. So sometimes it's like, oh, I'm going to get really dressy. I'm going to put hair and makeup and a really cute outfit on. And like, I'm going to go out with my husband and that's going to be amazing. And it shifts my identity for that moment. And then the last thing is when you close your laptop mentally, allow yourself to clock out for the day, period. No more work talk, nothing. And workaholism is a real problem. I have it. And it results predominantly from a lack of boundaries around time and energy. And that's just the bottom line. And it's just how it is. And that's the end of the story. So the next thing that I'm going to get into is how to set boundaries in romantic relationships. This is tough. We're going to talk a lot more about this on next week's podcast with Matt. It's going to be our 10-year anniversary podcast. We're going to be talking about our relationship and also talking about our relationship from a place of how we have such a successful marriage and how we work together and we live together and we are really best friends. And I want to instill that into everyone out there that has a relationship or is looking for a relationship to either elevate the relationship that they're in or find someone that's a high value man or a high value woman, whatever you're looking for. So we're going to get more into that next week, but how do we set boundaries in romantic relationships? So I believe that the two hardest relationships are romantic relationships and family. Those are fucking hard. But romantic relationships can be really difficult for people. So they really can be, in my opinion, the hardest areas of your life to really set clear-cut, concise boundaries. And despite what all the movies tell us, all the rom-coms tell us, giving your whole self to somebody else is not necessarily healthy. And honestly, nobody should expect you to. Healthy boundaries are vital to healthy relationships. Let me say that again. Healthy boundaries are vital to healthy relationships. And they define who is responsible for what. And when you see each other, how do you interact? and what each partner needs to feel safe and respected and loved and enough. And perhaps most importantly, relationship boundaries prevent codependency and enmeshment. I'm not going to get into all the psychological thing. If you want to learn more about it, go Google, but it really does help. So suppose a romantic relationship begins taking over your life and impairs your work or relationship with friends and family. In that case, it may be time to step back and reevaluate your boundaries. So the three most common romantic areas that are lacking boundaries include how much time we spend together. Okay, so that's number one. Setting physical and sexual boundaries, number two, and respecting each other's emotional boundaries. We're going to get into each one of those today. So the first one is, if you or your significant other tries to spend every waking hour together, you may lack a boundary around your time. So there is like this rule called the 30-70 rule. And so the rule as a general guideline is really promotes happiness and contentment in relationships and really helps with harmonious marriages and harmonious relationships. So most harmonious marriages and healthy sexual loving relationships spend about 70% of their time together and 30% of their time apart. So 70% together and 30% apart. And a lot of people will say, fuck that. That's crazy, Katie. It's more like 40-60 or 50-50. It just depends on like what stage of your life that you're in and what stage of your relationship. But the moral of the story is nobody should take up all of your time. And it's not healthy to spend 100% of your time with anyone. And I love my husband. He is my best friend. I could fucking be with him 24/7, but it's not healthy. And we end up, I think, and we'll talk about this, I guess, on next week's podcast, but we end up kind of taking each other for granted when we're just always around with each other. And I noticed that like he goes on work trips, I miss him. And then it like makes me want to be with him even more. Like that's just really, it's the old fashioned absence makes the heart grow fonder. So you can definitely gently and lovingly and respectfully express that you may need more time to yourself so that you can, when you're in the relationship, when you're with that person, you can bring the best version of yourself into that relationship, into that quality time. And this may simply be like, hey, Tuesdays are my day for myself. Like I'm going to take off. I'm going to go with the girls. I'm going to go do whatever, or maybe Sundays or maybe Saturdays, but just having those boundaries. The next one is setting physical and sexual boundaries. So physical boundaries are important at every stage of your relationship, but especially in the heat of a new romance. And it's imperative that you ask people permission. So the way that I grew up is like, you just fucking knocked the boots. No one was like, can I touch you? Can I kiss you? Can I rub your nipple? Can I play with your vagina? Like no one, can I do some butt stuff? Like no one was asking permission back when I was growing up. So this is like a hard relearn for me. But also I have like a really respectful husband who's like just sexually and physically is just super respectful. So he's not like a wild man. Like he's a wild man, but not like that. Okay. God's sakes. I'm getting crazy right now. Anyways, but if you're a youngin', you want to have that permission, before knocking to boots, before kissing or hugging or whatever. I'm not telling you to be a snowflake and be a pussy ass bitch. Because I see some of this shit on TikTok. It's like, can I touch you? It's like, bitch, yes, bitch. You're going to do my hair. Fucking touch me. It's okay. But I think in new relationships, it should be spoken about. And also maintaining autonomy over your body while respecting the physical or emotional boundaries of your sexual love partner is crucial for maintaining healthy connection. And this can include consent, privacy, expressing your preferences and desires, and having a mutual understanding of your partner's physical and emotional needs. And especially like I've been sexually assaulted. I know a lot of you out there have been sexually assaulted because you tell me, you email me, we have these conversations. This is even more important for someone who's been a victim of some kind of assault, no matter how big or small. So for example, suppose a man like sees a girl, right? And this woman has a history of sexual abuse or trauma. And in that case, he can respect her sexual boundaries by regularly checking in about her comfort with different types of physical intimacy. And if she expresses that a certain experience was triggering for her, he needs to respect the boundary to maintain her trust. I'm going to give you an example. One time I was taking off a fucking sweaty sports bra. This is so fucked. Matt's going to kill me for telling you this. So I was taking off my sweaty sports bra and my arms got stuck. Has this ever happened to you, or am I the only fucking doofus as this happens to. And I couldn't see because the sports bra was like wrapped around my face, and I was trying to like shimmy and jimmy myself out of it. And Matt came behind me, and my fucking sweater puppies were just hanging down in my kneecaps, and he was just like, blah, 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 like he came behind me, and I fucking freaked out. I started crying. I was like, oh my God. And he was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? We're just teasing. But it was just something about being so vulnerable where I couldn't move my arms. And maybe it does, go back to a sexual assault that I had when I was in college. I don't know where it came from, but he was like, oh my God, I will never do that to you. And Matt has never touched me like that before. And listen, my husband is like a gentle giant. He would never hurt me in any way, but he knows, like, don't touch the titties if I can't see. Just saying. So that is so huge. And then the next one is respecting emotional boundaries. So this is, in my opinion, the most complex of all of the things that I'm going to talk about as far as boundaries today. But emotional boundaries are definitely guidelines surrounding how you and your partner express your feelings to each other. So how do you talk to each other? Do you listen intently to your partner's needs, or do you only focus on your own? And what topics do you avoid discussing? What tones of voice do you use? How do you apologize and resolve situations when you get into arguments? So here's a kind of a list of examples of emotional boundaries. Okay. So number one is maybe you say, hey, let's not discuss that topic at dinner tonight in front of my family. Or you could say, it makes me uncomfortable when you bring up this, fill in the blank with this painful subject or this painful topic. Can we please keep this just between us? Or you may say, I need some time to think about this situation. Or you may say, I will never tolerate you calling me names. Or it could be, I want to support you in this hard time, but I cannot be your emotional dumping ground. And maybe you can reach out to your therapist or your mother or a friend or whatever. And that's just the damn truth. Because I think a lot of people like to emotionally dump. They like to vent. And, sporadically dumping traumatic feelings and thoughts and emotions onto a partner or even a fucking stranger, because this is what our world has come to. It happens all the time. And whether you are a giver or a receiver of the emotional dumping, it can be a very difficult boundary to navigate. And a person who is trying to release their emotions can express extreme vulnerability, but vulnerability can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, vulnerability is the key to establishing deep romantic connections, but however, it can also lead to breaches of trust or even oversharing. And everyone experiences heavy emotions that sometimes we all need to vent about. But using your romantic partner as an emotional dumping ground can significantly strain the relationship. And that's just the damn truth. In another podcast, I'm going to talk more about how to set boundaries with your family, especially your parents. I've had my fair share of this over the years. I'm actually going kind of through something right now. With that, I also want to speak to setting boundaries with your children. This is something huge as well. And setting boundaries with your friend. But that's going to be another podcast. And then we're going to wrap that podcast up with how to reclaim that energy. Because that's the most important thing, is stepping back into your power. So we're going to talk about that on another podcast. On next week's podcast, we're going to have Matt on. We're going to have our 10-year anniversary podcast. It's going to be amazing. We're going to make you laugh. We're going to make you cry. We're going to tell you all of our secrets on how to have a healthy, ambitious relationship. And then the following podcast in a couple weeks is going to be about setting boundaries. And also, like, when is it time to cut someone off? Because that's another thing too. You can set boundaries up the yin yang, but if you're dealing with a gaslighting narcissist or someone who has like a personality disorder, that's a whole other story for a different day. And it's a whole other podcast. And this podcast has already been over an hour. So God bless you. If you're still here listening, I appreciate you. You are truly the HBIC MVP GOAT, if you know what I'm saying. And if you felt like this brought you a lot of value today, please share it with as many people as you can. Get the word out there. Be part of this ambitious crusade. And like I always say, I'll see you next Tuesday. And don't forget to stay ambitious.